Ladies and gentlemen, to get an opportunity, a reaction. Nenga opportunity ya reaction tena bakuja, musikize mpita our last speaker. Pr Martin Ssempa is my mentor. Nabaga mtuna history na ye kanjibabu. Those of you who appreciate Prince Nick the brand, he's nange yanda nikangono ya government bamusana. I was at my church and he called my pastor. And pastor, that thing I will never forget. It stuck on my mind. Now, my pastor Ramgamba, send me a young man that I can prepare for radio. I am not sure Jalinga Korwan Green Channel, Green Channel by Chitana Sky is the limit. I don't know whether you remember. So that person will prepare in it. We need to get to America for some time. Then Komeo Ngapulida Katize Saina Musumba Kuruna Mubukoyo. Nzeja Napima Pastor Martin. Namuka Musumba. Zoom. Atichichi. Ntinakude ngubira Musumba ngese. Nomugambo yagala omuntu gonoleka okusho katirizo omuntu Musumba akukiriza ta. You know what you told me? Wangamba de wa Musumba. Akukiriza tokemukize. Na uli obusungu bungi na today I respect very much. Kubanga nzongo bantu abasomesa respect and protocol mu church. Sebo musajja oyo nanziza ewa Morris mu Kenya mu Musumba wange. Nema tukaya tena mu birowoozo. Obana limulabikira nga fala. Lesa ali fala aina bwe yalowoozo mwana ngenda mga muzeyi. Mva Pr Martin Ssempa ngambi the permission. Yende. I did it for radio. But then you have to me yo. The story is long. Ne mangudala. Muna kungasatu na liku radio ngabasomesa. Enough they go so mkamanga. I'm too proud of the guy that I came to get as a radio person. I've written a book, and in my book I have that story. But you know about Yatadika, you never know now. You know, it's very wonderful. Ladies and gentlemen, Pr Martin is an advocate of morality and integrity in societies. One item again a mass with any new homosexuality, which means you musajja ya imilao no wait. He has met so many people in media, he has met so many people spiritually. I think he is leading a committee of national integrity, whatever, Uganda. I have family and he's a respected leader. Binge, naye urokude musikize mwaniki wano naye ayogere ku nsonga yaffe eno then tokefune reaction of Mumfe. A hand as my mentor.
Thank you. Well done. If you don't mind, I'd like to stand here. So every night at midnight, I blow this shofar. I've been blowing it for about 12 years. I'd like to blow it over here so you all can hear it. And so my neighbor is a witch doctor. He often responds, and his is about Junju. I think there's a demon called Junju, which is a hunting spirit, and they use a short goat horn to blow, and he sounds like this. His is short because you can't get a long blast out of a short horn. So I respond back to him with my long one. And so it becomes a colorful thing if you visit my place, because on this side there's a pastor, on the other side there's a witch what? What a story of what we are going through as a country through our state formation. In the past, every hill in Kampala was occupied as an altar. In fact, Rubaga, which the church is, was an altar. Even Namirembe, which later became Namirembe, I think Namirembe Social Center, the location of the current church. It was also previously an altar. But then Christianity came in, and there's a way in which there is still a battle there. There is still a struggle. And sometimes there's more of Jesus and less of the Mukajanga Jungu, and sometimes there is more of the same. Now when you come and visit my place, you will get to see Pastor Sempa is here, and my neighbor, the witch doctor, that is Musumba Owengeye, is on the other side, and sometimes he also has his music. He gathers music, and then I also sometimes gather people and they sing. So as I start my reflection over here, is to share that all of us can blow the same horn, but we can have different spirits. What makes gospel or sacred music what it is that there's a spirit in the thing. There's a spirit. That's what makes it a living song. And by the way, you can actually be successful commercially and be a failure spiritually. You would have failed. I mean, this is a paradox and we must accept it. So for me, as I share with you, I'm going to be speaking to you why we need to have a different kind of model for gospel music. Because if I paid you money to sing a song, can I be as honest as possible? Let me just be blunt. In 2014, after passing the Uganda's anti-homosexuality law, the entire Western world, Barack Obama, David Cameron, United Nations, all the Europeans and American groups that have focused somehow on this issue of homosexuality, one world government, all of us should be one. They decided to persecute my life, and I had to go on what I called a forced sabbatical. Basically, I was running and hiding. 2014, 2015, 2016, 2017, I came out in 2018. Now, I'm a sanguine by temperament, love people. I enjoy being with people. And it's because of that that I'm often with this person, that person, that person. You have to understand people's temperaments. And that's why I came late, because just before I was dealing with a zoo, before that I was dealing with this, before that I'm dealing with a museum that I'm setting up, before that I'm dealing so many things. That's because of my temperament. So when you make a sanguine person to be all by themselves, it's one of the most difficult things they can go through. And so I was alone. My wife had to go hide. My children had to go, they had to go away because they put 300 million shillings on my head. But he went now Pastor Sempa to 1 million in Viga. It was a difficult time. And so I was a man on the run. Not because of something I'd done wrong, but because something that I had done right. So, being alone, lonely, I had to run. I was from place to place, hiding. And I want to share some of the things that really helped me was the music of Judith Babili. Because somehow, I could relate to the music of Judith Babili. There was a dirge, there was a spirit. Yes, uberanange, yes, tonde kanga wo, amamayaga omuyaganga munji, amataba. There was something about that music. And let me tell you, the production quality of the music, there is probably somebody with a piano, because every time I analyze the studio work of Judith Babirye's old music, piano career, bing, 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 production abilities, very, very basic. But the spirit in that music, Kanidirire okubera okosebo ebiro bebiyita olipengule kanonye okubera okosebo ebiro bebiyita ndifuna embeera yange. The songs of the old Babirye I could relate to. They strengthened me. In my most lonely times, when my wife was gone, my friends were gone, I'd written letters asking the president to help me, the first lady, asking everybody that I thought Bahati could help me. Nobody helped me. And I was all alone. Not even money to pay for the bill of the hotel, because I had to keep running from. But there was a voice of Judith Babirye, and she ministered to me. Wow. There was something about her simple, single piano, same voice, doubling in many, that spoke to my spirit. And later I got to hear some of the new Judith Babirye. What was the one that made $1 billion shillings? Mama. I listened to Mama. I felt like, that's a nice party song, happy, you go, Mama. And I think there was even other songs that she, Enembaga. Now, there is two Judith Babiryes. There's the old one on her piano. And the new one, the $1 billion, the $1 billion shilling one, Mama. And I have to say, give me the old Judith. Because there's something about her that helped me to go through the desert when everybody was gone. When my wife left me, when that there is a soul that whose money you cannot value. And so what makes a difference in the sacred, in the music, or that we call gospel, or the sacred, there is the Spirit of God. Yes. And now that's not to say that I do not wish, in fact I wish if I could talk to Judith, I want to talk to her, can we do that music again? With great studio, with wonderful vocals. Could we do that same songs again? Because there's something in those songs which is not in these songs. So sometimes the Baganda that says, Ntindo, tukumye rugo. Now you can have gospel music, but the spirit has been what? Taken away. So we must find ways of keeping the spirit in the gospel music. One of the battles that I had at engagement, the beginning of 2000, I think, was with Bobby Wine on the song Tuliyamba Lenguli. So Bobby Wine decided to appropriate the song for political purposes. Tuliyambala, Tuliyambala. Now, Bobby changed the song so fundamentally that he removed the New Jerusalem and inserted when Bobby becomes the president. And he was saying that if you have hospital treatment, if there is medicine in Mulago, it will be heaven. I said, no, Rwanda is not heaven. There is universal service of what? Treatment. There is free, even Sweden. There are countries that have universal treatment. That is not what? No! The heaven, the New Jerusalem is a different one. And so we could actually sing the songs, but they're different. That's why by this psalm that says, by the rivers of Babylon we sat down And I think, was it Bonnie M who sang that song? By the rivers of Babylon, there we sat down, and there we wept, when we remembered Zion. Now, everybody needs to know that there is a contradiction between Zion and Babylon. And that's why when I blow my shofar at my home, I represent Zion. Yep. And my neighbor, Musumba, he represents Babylon systems. And so in this conflict of two world views, two cities, there is a search for singers, there is a search for musicians, there is a search for worshippers, there is a search for creatives, there is a search for those harbingers who speak about the future, who express the heavenly message and bring it down onto the earth. And it's sad when the prophets of God are taken away from singing the Lord's songs. And they sing the songs of the Lord, the Babylon songs, in a strange land.
Thank you.
Now, I do not want to say I don't listen to. I listen to music. One of my favorite musicians is Bob Marley. One of my favorite songs by Bob Marley is Redemption Song. No Woman, No Cry. No woman, no cry. No woman, no cry. I remember when we used to sit in government yard in Trench Town, observing the hypocrite, mingling with the good people we met. Listen, they are hypocrites. Good friends we've had, good friends we've lost along the way. In this great future, you can't forget your past. I forget what the next line is. Listen, we need to know that there's two cities that are fighting each other. And it's tough when this city holds this city hostage. We have to find a way to fund, to support, that you can do gospel music. You can take it anywhere in the world as long as you keep the spirit.
Yes. Thank you.
You can take this song and sing it in Babylon because Zion wants to take it to Babylon, but we cannot sign contracts that limit us from singing the Lord's songs. You know, most television, the moment you come on and say Jesus, boom, there's a 3-second delay and it's off. We can't. So how can we sing the Lord's song without Jesus? It's like having a phone with no SIM card. And so for me, I want to suggest that in the same way, in 2017, the National Theatre was due to be demolished and a mall was to be built. National Theatre generates about $500,000 a year. And it needs more than that. But they were saying if we could put a mall, we could generate 15 million. And so this building that was built by expatriates and donors, designed by Pitful and Bujna, so good because, look, we don't have air conditioning. It was designed in such a way that it can be open like this but closed, and yet it has natural air conditioning. It has the round curves outside, somehow to let in the light and the air without it being so obvious. Listen, that was going to be knocked down. The building that was launched by Meta, the mayor of Kampala, a trader, a sugar family, a baron. And there was a lot of people who stood up, including my brother here. Many of you said, no! National Theatre does not exist to make money. We exist to showcase our talent. Don't make us a mall. Don't make us a supermarket. Don't make us a shopping center. We are a cultural village. Yes. And so Because art is not about money. Creatives are not so much about money. It's about the ability to create, to express, to tell our story, to help us go ahead, to tap songs of the future and bring them to the present so we can march into a great future. And so the outcry was so strong that they changed the idea of breaking down the national word. But wasn't the money greater? Wasn't the merchandising of $15 million per year vis-a-vis $500,000? So if the decision was to be made on money, National Theatre would be what? Gone. But people say, no, there's something more.
Yes.
There's something more. And so I want to suggest, if you look back about some of the most legendary, iconic pieces of work, they have been sponsored. They have been what? Handel's Messiah, Beethoven. These were sponsored by wealthy benefactors who says, no, I see you have a talent in you. I would like to give a grant so that you spend your time to create. We need to come up with funding streams that are different from the current. Look, it is difficult to be the one like Chameleon. Did you see Chameleon's Gwanga Muje? By the way, Gwanga Muje, my new name is Gwanga Muje, like Chameleon's what? Concert. And I feel so bad that my fellow Gwanga Muje festival guy, his thing fell down. So he's the same one marketing himself, he's the same one preparing to sing. But what I took notice was his voice during the interview. You could hear the voice has been overused. Because it's Chameleon going to Mengo to talk with them. It's Chameleon going to the speaker to market his thing. It's Chameleon going to the prime minister to market the thing. It's Chameleon going with Kakati. Chameleon is not able to prepare the voice to sing because it's two people. It's hard. Chisigu. And so there is need for support. And so this contradiction of how do we get done, to me, I've been thinking about it for many years. Number one, we need the Uganda Communications Commission to set aside a percentage of the money that they collect from the telecoms, which some of it they give to rural electricity. I think they give to rural, what is it? Rural, is it electricity? No. Communication, rural communication fund. I think they take about 1 to 2% of the money. And then that money is supposed to be put into the creatives. Because part of the law commands Uganda Communications Commission, it's responsible for matters of content in the communications law. So part of that money should be set aside as a grant. How many scholarships are we going? We're going to give 20 or 50 scholarships. How much money is needed? 50 million or 100 million per person. So that people can sit down and see that you have a talent, what. Yole Chitone, we can see you have Kuyole Sadi. Now we have, then part of that will go to the genre that just, no, I think it's, Jeff who talked about the genre of gospel. If you go away with you, guys can create. You find a talented person like this one, but marketability sometimes may or may not. If we subject success, survival on the basis of how many people are going to like what you like, some songs that I preach, everybody hates. Sometimes they hate my messages. But they are true. So you cannot subject a thinker, a creative, to only produce and succeed when he does that what people like. We gotta get those things even which annoy them. For culture, everybody's complaining. Oh, Spice Diana was showing her breasts. You know what Spice Diana was? I told her Spice Diana, take a SIM card. But she's now in that show. Isn't she the one who showed her breasts at that show? Yeah. And I say, you see, it's part of the market, the desperation. How many can come to Irene's? How many can come this? What excessive thing can I do to bring people to see me? If I'm a TikToker or if that is how I can get people, then I'm going to increasingly take off all my clothes until I'm naked. We can't subject our people. So we know that this was built by National Theatre, was built by benefactors. We need benefactors like Madivanis to set aside a grant, money that is just for the creatives, and that part of that money is for the gospel music industry. Tukute milioni 10, milioni 2, 3 egena mu gospel. Because we know it's not, number one, it's not about making money. It's about leading people forward. It's about setting standards. It's about worship of God. So, to me, I think we need to think outside of the box. But I'm not denying we need to look for ways of merchandising. Okay? But sometimes the merchandise may not be the best. Now, I've been speaking about this issue of homosexuality. I realized, and someone did a book, The Bad Side of Homosexuality. It showed a guy with his guts out. I thought that was evil. But I didn't like being, introduced as anti-gay, because even the branding itself, you see, the other guys are branded gay is taken from the word meaning happy, and they replace sodomy for happy. It's an art called lexicology. Lexicology is where you assign new meanings to old words, or new words to old meanings. You confuse people that way, and it's a branding of it. So we must also brand men who love women. We must come up with a brand. If they say, hey, I'm Jane, I'm gay, I'm a lesbian, proud lesbian. You find a girl who's a lesbian. The moment she greets you, hi, I'm Jane, I'm a proud lesbian. Who has asked you how you like yourself? Because they have been trained, it's like a religion. Now, you don't know how to answer. I'm Pastor Sempa, I'm saved. You see, for her, she's talking gender identity, you are taking religion. Me, I'm African. No, she has not introduced herself. She's also what? African. So then I came up with a brand called Straight Nation, because they told us that, you people who are straight, we call you straight, because they are straight in Tikali. So I built a brand called Straight Nation. Luganda, Muteweta. So then I'm beginning now to merchandise my message of Muteweta. Mutewetaism. It is straightforward. I went to school. People said, Pastor, I'm so straight. Everything is straight up, straightforward. We have to create new brands, and I'm not saying we shouldn't. We gotta come up with new brands to merchandise as much as we are possible without compromising the message that we are talking about. I think the part of the dichotomy, the fight here is the fight for the small money. We shouldn't fight for the money. We have to think bigger and better. Okay? I want to conclude finally with drawing you guys to think beyond the small market of Uganda. Okay? Now, I will just share this. This is where you put on your hard factual part. In 1900, there was one African for every 4 Europeans. We get it again. In 1900, there was one African and there were 4 Europeans. Abasajja bana, abazungu, omusajja omuddugavu ki omu. In 2050, a few years from now, there is going to be 4 Africans and 1 what? The reason why, demographics determine. Africans were very much religious, and Africa very much we care about family. Africa we care very much about culture, extended family. And wherever we go, we take these 3 things with us: family, culture, and religion. And so, when you look at the demographic future, you can think of the leading nations of the world. Amongst the most populous nations coming up by 2050, Uganda, Nigeria, Ethiopia, Tanzania, Nigeria, all of these are going to have more than 100 million, I think more than 100 million and above. Most populous countries. The numbers of Africa combined is such that we are the future. I did sociology for my past degree. The demographics determine the future. You have more soldiers, we the Africans, we are the what? We are the future. I want you to understand that it's not just about Uganda. Even when we start now with Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania, Rwanda, Burundi, East Africa, there is a market for us, which is why Kamiri began learning Swahili. That way his music can appeal in Tanzania, his music can appeal in Kenya. We need to learn the languages that will prepare us for the bigger market. How many of you speak Swahili? Hapo waliko watu wanazungumza Kiswahili. Mnafahamu Kiswahili? Huko moja hapo. Angalia, tuko wapi wewe? Shikamoo. Nakusalamia wewe. Tunapaswa kujifundisha watu wote kuzungumza lugha ya Kiswahili. Tuweze kupiga sifa za Bwana, tenzi na za Bwana. Kabisa. When I was alone, nipitishwa mateso ambapo nilikuwa najaficha. Nilipita mateso kabisa. Nilikuwa nalia. Nihaimusha ombolezo langu kwa Mungu, nimwambia Mungu unisamehe na kuomba msaada. God, I beg you. I'm asking you to help me. I was alone, going through the hardest time of my life. But I found in Swahili a strength. Because when you say Swahili, by the beauty of Swahili is this, it's so visual. In English you say the sword of the Spirit. Take on the sword, we put on the full armor, helmet of salvation, breastplate of righteousness, belt of truth, and we take the sword of the Spirit. I can't even imagine what the sword of the Spirit looks like. It might be in romantic movies, sword. You ever seen a sword? I've not. But in Swahili, upanga wa kiroho. What? Upanga wa kiroho. I know panga. If there is battles over land, it is what? So you can see the need for us to learn Swahili. And once you do that, you create a new market. You prepare yourself. Don't fight with fellow musicians. Complement each other. Expand the market, that there will be people listening to you in Kenya, people listening to you in Tanzania, people listening to you in Southern Sudan, people listening to you in Rwanda, Tanzania, Congo. That's number one. Africa. Number two, prepare for the rest of the world, because demographically Europe is in winter. They're in decline. Whenever you see three things happening: one, gender, women power, gender. It correlates with a decline in marriage and decline in childbearing. Whenever you see a decline in adherence to formal religious group, that I'm a Christian, I'm a Muslim, I am the Hindu, you notice a decline, because individualism comes up. People say, as long as you're happy. It's religious people who give birth to children. As Europe declines demographically, it's their churches, they're turning their churches either into clubs or mosques. It's Africans who are going to come and take over. Many people looked at the World Cup this year and they were like, hey, look at France. I was supporting on the final, I was supporting both teams. I was supporting Argentina because they played a beautiful game, and I was supporting France because they were all Africans. So for me, whoever, we either win or we win. I enjoyed the football game so much. You remember West Germany went back because they wanted to promote homosexuality, and they told them, no, by the way, this is one thing you can learn. Stop compromising with these people. You have to learn to be strong. They wanted to destroy the beautiful game by putting the most stenching sodomy in the game. And the Qataris told them, let's keep the beautiful game what? Beautiful. And wasn't that the best game you've ever seen? Yeah. But do you remember how many years of struggle they were after Qatar? Qatar, no human rights, bichi. Listen guys, if you don't fight for yourself and your business and your song and your culture and your music and your family, you are finished. That's why I speak, you must stand. Say, no, those things we don't do. By the way, Uganda is a bit over. Uganda is back and forth. But if you look at Tanzanians, don't play. Don't touch it. They just banned the books of sodomy yesterday. Anyone found with these books, you'll be arrested. We need to be more strong. So what I'm sharing with you is that as European populations go down, the Africans have to come in whether you like it or not. Many of you are saying, visas, bichi. Listen, prepare your music. First, your music doesn't need a visa, does it? No. But even if you needed a visa, I'm telling you, people are going to come and beg Africans. What you are seeing happening, people going to Saudi Arabia, going to Qatar, going to United Arab Emirates, that's just the beginning. Whether you like it or not, Canadians are going to come and beg you. Whether you like it or not, Japanese are going to come and beg you, saying we have an old population, no one can take care of them. Can you come and take care? What you see in Boston, Massachusetts, for now, because many Ugandans are working there in the homes of older white people who did not have children, who don't have a culture of being able to set up that we can stay in an extended family. They beg us to go and work as nurses, registered nurses. It's inevitable. Don't destroy, don't give up on yourself. They will come begging you because they need people. Number two, the biggest churches in Europe today, whether in Ukraine, whether in England, are led by Africans. Africans, Nigerians, Ghanaians. The biggest churches now in America. I used to speak in the biggest churches. They were white. I last spoke in Saddleback's church of Rick Warren. But the biggest is Redeemed Christian Church from Nigeria has got the biggest church now in Texas. They just bought, I think, about 2, 3, or 4, 5, about 10 square miles of land where they have put a church in Texas. We are the future. And so if you are singing gospel, you are singing the music of the soul in a language that people can understand, you're going to be all over Europe. You're going to be all over America. You're going to be all over Canada. You're going to be all over South America. Listen, for me, I've debated homosexuality. If you look at me, my simple debates, why are you gay, when I was on jail. The one video is 27 million people. Another video is 15 million people. Another one, I'm all over TikTok. Because I express the African sentiment and the biblical said, no, we don't do those things. Those are bad man. We know them as vices. I have fans, Philippines, UAE, Croatia, Canada, England, people are calling me from all over. They tell me, Pastor, you don't know what a celebrity you are. In England, you are such a celebrity. In Sweden, people love you so much. But they told me, but if you come, prepare that there will be protesters and you will also have what? Supporters. So I encourage you, don't lose the gospel. Don't lose Jesus. The future is bright. We will drive Range Rovers. I decided I'm going to buy a Range Rover a few years from now. The reason why Bujingo, another pastor in the city who I have challenged ideologically, because he gave up his wife, and they were saying that if you get a new car, I told him Range Rover, you want Toyota Chivina? Now to me that bothered me, you see, because I'm a pro-family what? Champion. To me, as a singer of music, I sing about love. If you see, some of you have seen me talk about sex and this and that, because I have to do that. But anyway, Tamale Mirundi told says, now when you succeed in life and you get a new car called a Range what? You have to get a new car like Makula, whose breast is like what? Like this. That is the one you put in the Range Rover. So I've been thinking about that. Then it annoyed me so much. Then I said, you know what? I am going to get a Range Rover. I'm going to get my wife, who have been married to 31 years, and I'll put her in a car and I'll go to Ujingo's church. So I'm planning on that. You can report that Pastor Inaugural Range Rover atega mchala we na wemyaka 3 wakala kase myaka 3 na mtwaleko. Praise the Lord. Last thing that I would like to say is, do not only limit music of the church only to what takes place in the house of God. No. The book of Song of Solomon, one of my best books is Song of Solomon. In fact, I want to do a festival called the Song of Solomon Festival, where I ask people to take lines out of this book, because it's celebration of love, sex and marriage. Some of you saw a video recently when I was talking to Kasuku about the first time I danced with a girl. Anybody saw that video? That's what was in a normal secondary school. I'm a big nigga water walo. I don't take a one of Kavina. And I was appealing and I was saying, you know, it is important for boys to go to school with girls. Because for me, that was senior one. My first time to dance with a girl. I spent 2 weeks just thinking about it. Teacher would come to teach mathematics. My brain was just on the other day. The formation of mind, the sexual formation of a boy and a girl in growing together. We need to have our people in a gender balanced way. It's a song of love. So I shared that and people saw it. Some of you need to see the full video, because I was making a case why we need to phase out single-sex schools like Kayaza and make it Kayaza mixed. Single-sex schools like Namilyango and make it Namilyango mixed. Bwera Nyanji, Autororo girls, St. Henry's College. Because we used to have problems in Kasasa, you remember? Then they every 2-3 months, Abasias, and then they made Kasasa mixed school. I have not had about homosexuality from Kasasa for the last over 10 or something years. You need to mix the school, the genders. So we don't just only say we are singing praise songs, but we also sing love songs. Yes. And we need to create a new love. I sang for my wife a song, I will say this, I'll sit down, was a lot of the popular love songs are really broken love songs. Okay, and you want to hear about love, but the songs that they are singing are songs about adultery, about what infidelity. I mean, they are beautiful voices, but the message is not good. Now, I'm a child of the 80s. I came of age in the what? So most of the songs that I know, which are recorded, are the 80s songs. So there's one by Roxanne, which is called "It Must Have Been Love, and It's Over Now. It must have been good, but I lost it somehow." So I took that song and I flipped it around, because I haven't lost that. For them, kawe demo, but for me, kachari. So I flipped the song and I say, "It must have been love, cause it's stronger now. It must have been God who has helped us somehow. It must have been love, cause it's stronger now." I forget the last line. Thank you, God bless you so much.
Oh, that is my mentor. Ladies and gentlemen, sikenda biso abalina ebibuuzo abalina interactions tusembere wano mangu nnyo tukikoleko. Are you blessed?
Yes.